Welcome to What's Your Story, where we, Jamie Marco,
And Stan Brown.
delve into the extraordinary lives of everyday people.
Listen in as we uncover the unique tales that shape who we are.
One story at a time.
Hey, let's get ready to explore today's story.
Let's do it. Well, hello, pickleballcandle.com.
Hello back at you.
Hello, listener. My dad is sporting his new hat. You're looking pretty stylish, Dad.
Well, one does what one can do. Limitations. I
Okay.
always said you're born with certain features, advantages. You must maximize them to your advantage.
I love that.
Good
What?
grooming is good because there are no good or bad looks. It's
Yeah.
what you project inside comes out. Because the Chinese say, as you get older, your face shows what you really are. That's why you get some older people. They're crabby, they're nasty. People are just happy.
Hmm.
Look in someone's face and see what you do.
I don't think it's older people that just look at that. I think that I've seen like 5-year-olds or 9-year-olds who just have a face that it's like, wow, they don't like they look like they're hurting.
Well, and I think those messages are always there. Just people don't pick up on them or whatever. But that's topic for another podcast.
Okay. You know what's interesting is so there's a lot of great proverbs, is that the word? Like you said the Chinese proverb. That's a proverb what you just said,
Like
right?
Fortune favors the bold by
Yes,
Virgil.
stuff like
Yes.
that. So I saw one recently that said there's a Japanese one that said if you get on a train going in the wrong direction, get off at the next stop. Otherwise, it's going to be way more expensive the further that you go. And I thought that was
That
actually
sounds like English to me.
uh-huh. I'm speaking English.
Oh, but it's a
Oh my gosh,
The
seriously?
Japanese proverb. Okay.
But the reason about it, what I thought was really cool about it is that, when you're going down a path, like in a wrong relationship or whatever it is, the longer you stay on, the harder it is to come back from that. And I just thought it was like
Sure.
so incredible. The other thing is that, we talk about what's relevant and what's new. So we were having a conversation this morning in the kitchen. We were talking about just
Not
like
we, someone else.
not you, no.
Yeah.
My husband and I. We were talking about friendships, and our daughter was over listening. And on the way to school today, we talked about friendships. And I gave her this concept, and I had heard many years ago about the concept of a season, a reason, a lifetime. Have you ever heard that concept before?
Season, a reason, a lifetime. I've not heard that.
Yeah. So people come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And there's a whole poem around that. And maybe I'll tag it in this post. But there was another thing I read when you're talking to friendships with kids that friendship is like a tree. Some friends are like leaves, right? So when a leaf is on a tree, does it fall off or not fall off?
Well, sometimes they leaf you
Exactly. But sometimes it can fall off, right? Like a leaf can fall off in what? How does a leaf fall off of a tree?
in stages. It goes from being green and vibrant to a little musty, a little older, crabby, wrinkly, and dies.
Okay. But a leaf can also fall off in a storm, right? Or the
Mhm.
wind blowing the wrong way. And some friends are like that, where you become friends with them. And sometimes we think we're friends, but sometimes the littlest things makes them go away, which means that they weren't really there for a long time. They were just that leaf
Sure.
that was there. Then there are some friends who are like branches. Do branches break?
Yes.
Okay, but it takes a lot for a branch to break, right?
More,
Like
more stress.
right? More stress, overusing it, abusing the branch. And so some friends are like branches where they're in our lives for a little bit of a longer time than a leaf, but some things happen and it breaks and they go away. Or that could be a friend moving. That could be a friend, maybe us lying to a friend. We all know how important trust is. So that could happen there as well too. And then there are the third stage of friends, which they are like the trunk and the root of the tree. How often does that break?
Almost never.
Almost
And
never.
when the tree breaks, you got to do like a root thing. You gotta dig it out. It's
Right.
like a bad tooth.
Yeah, and so those are friends that are there for the long haul. They're there with through the storms. They're there through the kids hanging on you. They're there through all those different things. And so I was trying to explain to her about friendships, how just because we are friends with some people in our lives now doesn't mean that we are friends with people forever. And it just means that we need to be aware of our friendships and what that looks like and to value all of them. And things change. There are some people who I was really, really good friends with when I was probably her age, but we've lost touch. They were like a branch. They were been in my life, maybe through elementary and middle and high school, but you go off to college and things change. There are some friends who I've had from a very young age, who I knew since I was like 8 years old and we still talk all the time. And then there are some friends who came in for moments in time.
Did she get it?
She totally got it. I said to her, "Who do you think are my leaf friends?" And she mentioned a few people. And then she said, "Who?" I said,
We can't mention them
"No."
here.
And then I said, who do you think are some of my branch friends? And she mentioned a few people.
Money, she's on the money.
She was like right on it. I said, who do you think are my root friends? And she mentioned some people then as well too. And she was like, your college friends. I was like, yes, you're right. But it happens, right? And so I asked her, who are some of your leaf friends? Who are some of your branch friends? Who are some of your root friends? And we had this really great conversation. And I think that, yes, relationships change, but it was a really great conversation.
So from now on, you can call me Woody.
Okay, I'm letting our guest in. I'm done. I'm done. I'm
Welcome to the
done.
Jamie and Woody
Wow.
podcast.
Did you hear anything I just said?
Leave me alone.
All
She's so easy.
right, let's let our guest
Okay.
in.
Hey, thanks for visiting. We'll see you next week. I gotta fertilize my tree,
Oh my
and you
gosh.
don't want to know about that.
I never know what you're going to tell me. It is like,
Next two of us.
I was explaining to somebody today that like when you come on these calls, I literally have no idea what you're going to say or where you're going to go with things.
Oh, they are unscripted.
Hi, Bill.
Oh,
Welcome. We are recording. We are live. My dad I'm just gonna say in advance, we don't know what's gonna come out of his mouth, so be prepared.
good color for you. I like that color.
I did. I picked especially for today.
And it looks clean.
What, my house or the shirt?
Both.
Well, the house is being cleaned right now as we speak. So if the robot gets too loud, let me know.
Wait, so if someone comes in to clean you, we should break?
Right, exactly.
Bill, meet Stan. Stan, meet Bill. It's good to see you. Hello. So we are recording. We typically like to start our conversations asking the same question of every guest. So we're going to start there, and then our conversation just goes where it goes. So here's our question for you today. What is your number on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being you should not have gotten out of bed, should not be interacting with us, should not be peopling, to a 10 being it is the best day you have ever lived. You do not have a worry in the world, nothing is bothering you, and you are like superhuman.
And keep in mind, you already sent us a bill.
Shut up.
So today specifically would probably be on the Dave Portnoy pizza scale, probably a 6.5.
Ooh, I like how you went with the point 0.5. Okay, so let me ask you a follow-up question to that. And you said on the pizza scale, is that what you said?
So are you familiar with Dave Portnoy from
The
Barstool
one bite
Sports?
challenge, yes. You don't know
Oh, I
that?
don't know that.
So one bite, everybody knows the rules. He has now become probably the most famous pizza reviewer on YouTube, on
Oh,
top of his other, his other hobbies, including owning, many companies like Barstool and some others. But yeah, he does pizza reviews every day, and he rates pizzas on a scale of 1 to 10, but everything comes up with like a 7.3 or an 8.1, right? So
ah,
my day on the pizza scale is a 6.5.
I love it. All right, what would it take for you to go just 0.25 higher to a
More cheese, more cheese, more
6.7?
cheese.
More cheese and a little pepperoni, probably. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. So today, my puppy is being groomed, so I miss him. So that's probably a part of the 6.5 as opposed to going to a 7. Met with my attorney this morning to do my estate plan. So that probably took a couple of points off, because that's kind of, could go either way on that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it could take me. Maybe the conversation that we're going to have today will take me up those 2 points.
We'll take it. We'll take it. All right. So, I mean, speaking of pizza, I can tell that you are from the Northeast. Is that accurate?
That is very accurate.
So, and we've met before. So, listener, full disclosure, this is not my first time meeting Bill. We spent some time together at a camp volunteering doing Color War, which was super fun. We'll talk about that another
But I
time.
did not.
You did not. So, my dad's never met. But so, from the Northeast and pizza, are you like,
Actually, it's a one bite challenge. All it does takes is one bite.
I know. So, like New York pizza over Chicago pizza? Yes.
We don't call Chicago pizza, it's pie.
I feel ya.
He's,
I feel
he's
ya.
at a 7 already.
So, yeah, but really what the most famous style of pizza is in Chicago is not deep dish. It's tavern style. It's that very thin crust, almost like a bar pie, and it's cut in squares as opposed to the triangle, like we do the normal people in the Northeast do.
Yeah, interesting.
Sorry for all you Midwest listeners. Apologize.
We have listeners all over the world, all over the globe. And so I love pizza. I have not been able to find pizza here that I think is like excellent. So I'm open to anyone that lives in our area. If you want to like let us know that your pizza is the best, we will come and try it. Maybe we'll bring Bill with us.
We're broadcasting from Palermo.
All right. So tell us a little about where are you originally from?
So I was originally born in Rosedale, Queens, which if you're familiar with the five boroughs, Rosedale sits in the southeast corner of Queens, kind of straddling the border of Long Island, Nassau County.
Okay.
So spent my formative years there.
Got it. And then so you grew up there, and then when did you leave New York area?
Left the New York area. Well, so I moved from Queens to New Jersey at one point when I started in my professional career. From that point, yeah. So I left when I was first time when I was 21,
Might I
and then
inquire what that
Jersey.
professional career was?
That professional career was working in the food industry, starting off with a food broker. And if you're familiar with what a food broker does, they represent a number of manufacturers kind of under one roof. So instead of that manufacturer paying for their own direct sales force, both for headquarters and for retail, they hire a broker. And so my first job was working for a food broker, and they were more impressed with my resume of working for a number of different supermarkets growing up as opposed to my college degree. So,
Oh, so tell us, I mean, I was gonna ask you, how do you even like get into that? So you work for some supermarkets as like your job throughout high school and
well, yeah, I had a couple of supermarket jobs in high school. Also worked for a department store for a number of years too, in Alexander's department store. I'm not sure if you're
Oh,
familiar with
sure.
that.
Paramus, New Jersey, sure. Route 4, big one.
No, very good.
Big New York.
So,
yeah.
so how do you get a job like that? Well, back in the day when we actually had newspapers to read,
What are
it was
those
like
exactly?
exactly.
I'll tell you
There were
later.
pages with printed words
Kidding.
on them. But they also had really cool on Sundays, they had large classified sections where
Yeah.
they had postings for jobs.
Yeah.
So I answered an ad in the help wanted section from the Sunday paper.
Wow. How old were you when you had your first job?
My first job, my first real job,
First
my
job.
first professional
First job.
professional job, a real job.
Uh, like real job, like first working paycheck that you had. How old were you?
My first working paycheck that I had was working for the Rosedale Jewish Center at 13, setting up the bingo chairs and tables.
Got it. Okay. And so like 13 is an early age to get a job. So what was the goal of like, was that because your parents were like, hey, you need a job, you need money, or was that you were like, I need to start doing something?
No, actually, I went to attended USY,
Okay. Which
right?
is like a youth group for Jewish youths,
Like
kind of.
an A-breath, something like yeah, exactly. And through that, the folks who worked through the youth groups, they looked for folks or kids to, help out on the weekend setting up bingo. So they asked me if I would do that. I said, absolutely. I
Got it.
think for the grand total of $10.
Oh, you mean like a day, an hour, a
Well, I
week?
mean, to set up and break down for that day would be
Oh,
$10.
That was
got
the
it.
I mean,
Okay.
that
we're
was the
talking
beginning of
about
child labor laws.
1977, 76,
Okay.
77. Yeah.
So back, when you were earning this money, the $10 every time that you were doing it, what were you looking to spend your money on? Like what was that? What did you save your money for at the time at 13?
I don't know that I could tell you that.
Oh, okay.
So
And now it's a
the
podcast.
podcast, right? So I was very much into music, so probably saving up to buy albums, again, vinyl,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Dating myself and
No,
dad.
I had albums growing up as well too. So what was your favorite record that you remember back in the day?
So interesting. So I have two older sisters, 13 and 10 years older. So from my older sister, I got a love of the Beatles and
Okay.
Simon and Garfunkel.
Ooh.
From my middle sister, I got a love of Rod Stewart and Elton John.
Okay.
So my first album that I bought on my own was America's Greatest Hits and the
Amazing.
Steve Miller Band, Fly Like an Eagle.
Amazing. Did you really, Rod Stewart just performed in Edinburgh did you see him perform there in his,
It's unbelievable. And again, right, no ageism here,
you're
but the man is in his early, late 70s, early 80s.
I don't know how old he is.
He
How old
has
is
to be.
Stewart?
He has to be.
All
Yep,
right, hold on.
early 80s. Yeah, but I
He's
want
You're
I
gonna
want to
do
see him after the concert's
Constance
over.
Rod Stewart.
right. But it's amazing that for whatever the
He's
length of the
80 years
performance,
old. 80 years
80 years
old.
old, right? Now, I mean, the incredible amount of energy that he expends, and I guess his set, and he still tours regularly
Yeah. And his
at an
bright
hour
color
and a half.
suits, like the pink suit and the green suit, and like, yeah,
Not only does he look, he still
amazing.
sounds good too. Now, again, he's got a huge backing band,
Sure.
and he's got backup singers. So, I mean, he does get some help, more help today than he has in the past, obviously. But he
Yeah.
still looks and sounds fantastic.
I love that.
As they say, use it or
We'll lose.
Well, so vinyl has made a comeback, and I think a lot of it comes back from movies and pop culture creating that. I know that I'm a huge Sex and the City fan, and one of the characters from that TV show, whether you guys watch it or not, his name was Big. And he had like they just recently had it on the reboot, the record player, vinyl player in his room. They would have come home, they listen to jazz, and it's made a big comeback. Do you still, in today's day, with all of the modern ways to listen to music, have any vinyl?
It's really funny. I don't. And I kick myself every time because my daughter, who also shares that same love of music that I do, she does have, a vinyl player and a collection. Now, I know, do we call it a phonograph still? Or do we call it a record player? I'm not sure
mm,
what they call it. But anyway, she's got an extensive, well, I won't say an extensive catalog, but she has a catalog of vinyl, which I'm very, kind of envious of. So yes, I probably need to go out and invest in a record player slash phonograph and vinyl albums for myself.
That's so cool.
Because we become lazy. We become lazy with Spotify and Apple Music. It just gives you access and, anytime. With an album, like reading a book, you have to like sit down and pay attention.
We interviewed a comedian who talked about listening back. I think this happened. I'm pretty sure this is just a true story or
you're
somebody.
getting
Listen
you're
it.
getting it.
I know I'm getting there. Who said that that's how he grew up was listening to the vinyl of the comedians that he loved
Right.
and just like playing those over and over again. That like the thing. And now it's so easy. And I feel like that's a whole other conversation. But is your music taste today then still those, or has it completely changed?
No, 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 no. I've gone through kind of the evolution of Bill's musical taste.
Azure?
From what I just told you about the Beatles and something, I kind of morphed into heavy metal in high school. So I went from
Really?
yeshiva to public high school, and with that, the transition from America and Steve Miller Band went to Iron Maiden and Judas Priest.
Wow.
Right. So traded in, when I made the transition from yeshiva to public school, like I said, I went from collared shirt, tzitzis, and yarmulke to cut off dungaree jacket with rainbow on the back. Yeah, so I went from my heavy metal phase, and then I went into the alternative phase in the '80s with I was big into alternative music like The Cure
Yeah.
and U2, which I still love.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I'm still passionate about music. I just came back from New York. I saw Oasis on their reunion show on night two at MetLife Stadium. It was amazing,
So
amazing
cool.
to see 80,000 people, and from teenagers to boomers,
Yeah.
everybody into it, singing along to every song. It was amazing. So yeah, so I'm still very much into rock and roll. That's my passion.
Okay.
And I still love going to shows, not stadium shows. That was a kind of a one-off because of the Oasis reunion. I
Yeah.
had to go.
Yeah.
But I like still going like small clubs, going to see bands that I love, who play very small theaters, which, is more intimate.
That's so cool. I love that.
Can we circle back to bingo for a minute?
Yeah.
Sure.
Can you rig the game?
Oh.
I remember I was only 13, so I wasn't old enough to stay when they started playing.
Oh, because it was gambling?
Correct.
Well, he could have been corrupted. And why are you a drug addict today? I was playing bingo when I was 12 years old.
What, Alan?
I've never played bingo. Well, I should have said on a cruise maybe, but that's not playing bingo. I've never sat in a bingo hall with a card or multiple cards in front of me with the big stamp.
So
Never
you
say
don't,
never.
so you don't know whether it's legit or not, do you?
Well, do you think the lottery
Yeah,
is
it was
legit?
at the shul. Of course, it was legit.
Is the lottery legit? Like you
The
think?
lottery?
Yeah.
I never win.
Yeah. You
Am I-
won. You won the family. You won the daughter
I won
lottery.
life's, look at this life's lottery.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so sorry. We're gonna go on so many different tangents, but I think it's like so. And listen, being a music fan and going to probably concerts when you were younger, it's transitioned so much. We were just looking at tickets the other day to go to Stevie Nicks, and her tickets are $800 a
Oh, it's
piece
insane.
for crap seats. And I feel like that's changed the the people who can go enjoy that, right? Like you don't go to enjoy the music anymore. You're going and paying for the experience, possibly. I don't even want to know what your Oasis tickets were. You don't have to share that.
I want to know.
But
I didn't pay for it. Yeah,
What?
I didn't pay for it. No, and
Oh,
I'll be clear. I mean, one of the perks, and having worked for the company that I worked for 30 plus years, even though I'm retired now, you still keep those connections, and you keep some favors in your back pocket for when you really need them. So
oh,
this one was like, I really needed this favor, and somebody came through for me, and I'm so appreciative of that because, to your point, these seats, I think, were around $1,000.
how close
And
were
I
you?
mean, these were not like, right in front of the stage. Like you were kind of up in the second tier, away from things.
But isn't it true in all the concerts today because of the size, they use a big jumbotron up in front?
yeah.
Well, again, thank God for that. Now, again, it was fantastic because even though I could make them out on the stage if it wasn't for the jumbotron, which was clear, it covered the entire length of the stage, crystal clear, and the sound was amazing.
Yeah,
So
because I went.
yes,
I love Jeff Dunham, the puppeteer. And we had like
yeah,
up in Tampa, like the 11th row from the front, could see him very clearly. The problem was I was so distracted by the jumbotron, I was watching the screen and not him. So I
that's
wasn't even in my underwear.
But you
I
know
went
what's
up.
even funnier than that? It's like not only that having screen, which I was, focused on the
Oh,
screen all the
sure,
time, the people who were on their phones watching the screen or taping the screen.
this is
That's what killed me.
lunacy.
It is, don't even get me started on that. Like, just be present. Like I went to a concert with my daughter recently. It was a Disney concert, and I wasn't
Right.
recording the performers. I actually had the camera back facing her just so I could see her. I didn't care about, like, I was there for the moment, but I'm like, why are you recording them on stage? Like, if you're going to record the people on stage, just be here present in the moment. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that again, I try not to be that old man, pointing my finger and thinking that hey, back in our day, we didn't have phones, so we didn't,
we had
we pro-
lighters, not camera lights.
right. Yeah.
We
It's
had
just to me,
hookahs.
it's not my thing. I go to experience music, and I think that's why I still have that love of going to see shows in the smaller venues because you can see the stage, you can
Oh,
see the performance,
absolutely, sure.
Yeah.
standing.
Best show ever. Which one was it?
It was top 10 for sure. I mean, look, because I just saw it, it's fresh in my mind. Yeah, greatest show ever. But to me, like the best show I ever saw, the best show I ever saw was U2 in 1985 at the Nassau Coliseum on the Unforgettable Fire Tour, where I mean, it was almost like a religious experience. That
Hmm.
was,
Wow. That's cool. Well, you dropped a little nugget saying that you retired after 30 years working for the same company. That is not something we hear very often anymore, right? Like people don't have that commitment, they don't have that longevity in organizations anymore, especially today's generation hopping around 2 years here, 2 years there. Tell us a little bit about, first of all, newly retired, right? Like only how long now?
excuse me, it's almost 2 years in October.
Okay. And that's going to be a total switch in your life. How do you, and you're a young guy, you're not like,
Not like me.
right, not like you.
I think, yeah, exactly, Stan.
And I'm assuming, I have no idea how old you
I'm
are.
in total agreement.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea how old you are, but I'm assuming that you're like a young guy. And so that's a big like thing to make happen. But how do you, stay at an organization for 30 years? Like that was like your lifetime.
You hide a lot.
Well, it's
So yeah, so it's funny. Like if you talk to my kids, they will tell you that Dad would always say that he's just on the verge of getting fired. I'm losing my job. I'm losing my job.
See, he was hiding.
Was that lack of confidence? Maybe somewhat, but also and I worked for PepsiCo, right? Well, I should say I started working for Tropicana, the orange juice company,
Yeah.
based here in Bradenton, Florida, in 1992. And when I started working for Tropicana, they were owned by the Seagram, the liquor company. So as they got more into the entertainment side of the business, Edgar Bronfman, I'm sure you're familiar with the Bronfmans, right? Edgar, as he bought Universal Studios and got big into Hollywood. So he needed more cash to free up, so he divested himself of the Tropicana business and sold it to PepsiCo. So PepsiCo bought us in 1997, and working for a $60 billion company provided little cover with the number of reorganizations that they would do on an annual basis.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough working for the Tropicana business under the PepsiCo banner. I stayed with the Tropicana side of the business for the majority of that time. And it was a small piece of their business. I mean, I think we were a $3 billion part of a $60 billion business, right?
Wow.
So that afforded us a little bit of exclusivity. Like what we did was unique in the context of PepsiCo.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I was able to kind of survive for 30 plus years by, I would say, by doing a good job, hopefully, right? Ascending to a number of positions, but also having a number of really great bosses who watched out for you through those reorgs. My name wasn't on, well, I shouldn't say, my name was on the list twice, but I came back from the dead.
How do you know that your name was on the list? They told you?
Oh, I was told, well, so the first time was in 1990, I'm sorry, not 2002. So PepsiCo had bought the Quaker Gatorade business in 2001. And the Quaker Gatorade business was a I mean, they were a big
I
company,
didn't know that
Quaker
PepsiCo
Oats.
owned them. I didn't know that.
Sure, yeah, they are huge.
Mhm.
So when they bought the Quaker business, because our business models, the Tropicana business model and the Quaker Oats business model were very similar in the way we went to market, they merged our businesses together, and the
Layoffs,
leadership
layoffs.
in the Quaker Oats team basically took control of the business. So my job, they started an initiative called Power of One, where they wanted all the key account managers calling on their bigger customers to live in the market with these accounts. So I had moved a number of times, or the company had relocated me a number of times. And by the time we got here to Florida in 2000, my kids were just 8 and 4. And my wife and I at the time, had decided that, at this point, we had just moved here and I was calling on Circle K, corporately, nationally. And Circle K at the time was headquartered in Phoenix.
Are they still
So,
around?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Circle K still
oh yeah.
around? Okay.
Now they're square.
So they wanted me to move to Phoenix, and I couldn't do it. Right. So my ex and I talked. We talked about it, and but the hope was that between the time that I was told that, well, I told the company I wasn't going to move, and they said, well, then your job is going to you're eliminating yourself from your role. I was like, okay, fine. But I was fortunate enough where they liked me enough where they my job was viable through the end of that calendar year. So between July and December, I had the opportunity to interview for a couple of different jobs within the company, and I was able literally at the last minute. I had actually gotten the severance package on it was Christmas Eve.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, here's the severance package,
Very
and then
sensitive company.
very sensitive. Well, it was my boss at the time. He kind of held that. He had the package a number of weeks before, but he was hoping against hope that I was going to get a gig. So he kind of held back on sending me the severance package, and then he was told he had to do it. Fortunately, between Christmas Eve and then the following week, I got a call from one of the VPs giving me the opportunity for a job I had interviewed for, again, on the Tropicana side, fortunately. So I was able to get back on board without
Good to have a
hesitation.
rabbi.
I had a rabbi. I had a rabbi, man.
So
Yep.
you lived under a shroud of uncertainty for quite a period of time.
30 years.
You handle stress very well, my friend.
Well, I mean, but that has to take a toll
Oh
on
gosh.
your
Oh my God.
listener. He's just taking off his hat. He is bald, no more hair left. But that has to take a toll on, your personal relationships as well
Oh,
too,
sure.
right? Like, how did that impact knowing that you could lose your job at any minute based on all that? How did that impact your personal life? Raising kids?
Well, so I traveled extensively from 1997 through my retirement. I had a number of national roles, and then the last role I had was managing the New York business. But I had accepted that role literally 2 weeks before COVID hit.
Oh boy.
So the plan at that time was to relocate back to New York. Now, again, I had been divorced for a couple of years, so I mean, it was going to be, and my kids are back in the Northeast. So my thought was, this is great.
Sure.
I'll reload back to New York. Their company was going to take care of everything fine. But that didn't that with COVID. It just never transpired where I made the reload. So I commuted basically. I was one of the very few people that commuted during the initial stages of
Yeah.
COVID back and forth. It was honestly, I loved it because I was by myself in the airport, by myself on the planes. It was great.
Wow.
So
You
anyway,
live at
it
patient
took, it took
zero.
it took a toll because, traveling extensively, while I love the jobs, the personal part of it, it left my wife to really
Oh,
handle a lot of the dual role, right? Of being, you know, father and mom, most, Monday to Friday when I wasn't there. So yeah, it
you
does
pretty
take
much
its toll.
traveled every week.
I was gone every week, yeah.
Minimum stay 2 or 3 nights.
Well, so in the national roles, depending on what job I was doing, I would be in multiple cities during, each week. So going from Tampa to Chicago, from Chicago to San Francisco back to New York, New York back home, depending on what, the customer meetings and what my team had managed through and wanted me or needed me to be a part of for that particular week. You try to schedule yourself out so you're not stressing yourself too much, but it never really worked out.
Sure.
Oh my God, travel for work is the worst. Like I feel like you're always just hoping your flights are on time, hoping that you get a hotel that's not a crap hole, hoping that there's like you don't miss a meal because you're just then hangry. It's horrible, but it sounds like you missed out on a lot of your kids growing up too because you were gone,
It certainly did.
and that's
And
hard.
that's one of the things where, you think back, you're like, wow, the sacrifices that we make for our kids, obviously. So we were able to do things because of that, right? Send them to schools and, give them opportunities that normally would not have been afforded to them had I not been in these types of role. So again, you take the good with the bad, right? But again, looking back at it, would I wish I would have spent more time? Yeah, absolutely.
Was your wife working at the time also? Or no.
My wife was not, well, she worked in different, well, so when I met my ex, she was a stockbroker. She worked for a stockbroker. I worked for a food broker. So it was a huge disparity in the economics of our household, right? So I was like,
I was
wow.
going to break there.
And this was like in the 90s, or when was this?
I met my ex in the late 80s
Okay, got it.
and we got married in 90.
Got it. Okay.
And yeah, so my thought was like, here's this really, this attractive woman who's really bright and makes a lot more money than I do. Good luck.
You never introduced her as your first wife, did you?
Yeah, she was my only wife.
Well, so then fast forward to today, you put your 30 years in, you retired. The last 2 years you spent in retirement. And you're single, you're out there. Tell us a little bit about like what that transition is like going from working for 30 years, traveling all the time and now having time just to be you. What is that like?
So what I've said to those who would listen to me is it's a process and it's an evolving process. And I thought I had a plan because I kind of knew the end was coming. Um, the last 2 years, PepsiCo had sold our division of private equity, and at that point, it's only a matter of time, right? Because you're
Bottom
old,
line.
you're older, and now you're clearly now I'm clearly in the headlights,
Yeah,
right? During the headlights. So it was just a matter of time. I thought I had another year, but anyway, it worked out where October of 23. I got the word, which was okay, and they were very good to me on the way out the door. But I thought I had a plan. Okay, once I got into it, the plan wasn't working. Okay?
what do you mean by
So,
that? What do you mean by that?
well, I mean, there were things that I had thought. So first of all, you think that okay, even though I've spent 30 years with this organization, I'm still a viable commodity on the job market. And I spent a number of years in my management roles, interviewing
Sure.
candidates for jobs both on my team or on my peers' teams.
Right.
So what I wasn't prepared for, and I was thinking I was going to go back to work, right? So I had a period of time where I was working through an outplacement program through my severance package. And what I found was that only I thought I was a viable commodity. So nobody wanted to hire a 60-year-old man at the salary that was commensurate with my skill set at the time. So, well, I could have gone back to work. What I figured out after 6 months was after having sent out a number of resumes through LinkedIn and getting zero responses, like literally zero responses, which kind of blew me away. It was like, this was an ego thing. And then I found out it's not an ego thing. It's just like you're either way overqualified or like they're looking at your resume and saying, this guy has got to be like 90 years old. So,
I'm not laughing at you.
no, I
But
know.
it's
No,
true, right?
I'm
But I
laughing.
hear that, right? Like you've got
I'm,
too much experience
He's
and
she's too expensive. They hired a guy probably less than half his salary.
yeah, but also they're
right.
thinking they want longevity and you only
I
have
wanted
the stuff that you
longevity.
want to
They
give.
want to
Yeah.
train the
Right.
new people there where they don't want old habits.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exact all of that, right? So, I mean, there were roles that I could have taken on, with startups, things like that, which really didn't appeal to me. And then there was the consulting option, which I did a little bit of, but I really didn't like that.
Mhm.
And it wasn't anything that was consistent, right? So I found myself kind of at a crossroads, and then, having had the opportunity now to kind of think, okay, I am a retired old man in Florida. What do I do? So I started
Pickleball.
playing.
Sell houses, brother. Sell houses, man. He could have sold a ton of houses. Are you kidding?
Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, so pickleball was the first thing, and I really like it, and I've been playing it for like a year and a half, and I'm really bad at it, and it's pissing me off. But I'm still my goal is to get better at pickleball. So yeah, that's the kind of how do I keep active type of thing. But Jamie, as you know, like when we met, that was a volunteer opportunity, right, at Campion. And it's always been important to me. I've always said to myself that when, you know, I stopped travel, I would try to do some things that I didn't have the opportunity to do when I was working. And my ex did a great job of that. She did a lot of volunteering for the kids' schools and for Sarasota Crew when my daughter was rowing. And those are things that really appeal to me. So while I have older children, obviously, 33 and 29, I'm really engaged now in doing things to help out where I can. And certainly, having working with the Federation, doing some volunteer work with them. That's important to me, and I'm really getting involved with that now. As you know, we've had some opportunities to work together, and I'm now on the board at the Lakewood Ranch Jewish Club, and that's also, it's kind of checking a number of boxes for me. One, it's the volunteer aspect of it, which I really love, and the second piece is I kind of ran away from my Jewish self for a while, and now I'm kind of rediscovering that in the back nine, as I say, right? So it's become important to me as well. So I'm kind of marrying the Jewish piece, my Jewish self, with the volunteer piece, and that is sustaining me now at this stage of my retirement.
What do you think? I mean, as you talk about the back nine, what do you think is driving all of that? For you to like be more connected. And I know you said you didn't get a chance to volunteer before and you want to do that now, but what are those thought processes being like, hey, I gotta get connected back to my roots, to my heritage, to, doing that. Is that a life thing? Where's that come from?
Yeah, well, so I mentioned that I did go to yeshiva for the first 8 years of
And then for
school.
listeners who don't know what yeshiva is, can you explain to them what that is? Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead. Explain what yeshiva
Oh,
is.
so yeshiva, yes, it's a school that focuses on Jewish studies, and depending on the section or the sector of Judaism, that yeshiva could be anywhere from a Orthodox, conservative, or Reform type of school. And within Judaism, you have those three buckets, and I think they probably expanded a little bit more over time. But this was an Orthodox yeshiva, so
Hmm.
within the Orthodox Jewish community. This is where boys and girls are separated. They have separate classes. The boys, you wear the prayer garments, tzitzis, and you daven or you pray every morning, and you wear your tefillin. And obviously, you had Hebrew studies in the morning. You're taught by a number of different rebbes or rabbis, and then in the afternoon were English studies. So it was a long day.
And this is in
Um,
Queens, right?
This was in Far Rockaway, Queens. Yeah. So the bus picked me up at 7:15 in the morning and dropped me off at 5.
Got it. And then at some point in your life, you had all that education, you went to middle school, got into the Hard Rock, you kind of left that life behind. And and like, listen, I think it's really interesting, right? Because I'd love to know, like, what was it? You said you want to get back to it now. So what happened in your life that you left that part behind?
Yeah. So I had my parents were much older when they had me, right? So I mentioned my two sisters are 13 and 10 years older than I. So I was born in 63, and at the time, my mom was, I think, 35, my dad was 41. So, this was not of the
Oh,
norm,
sure.
right? Having kids that later in life at that age, at that stage in the 60s. So my parents were almost like my grandparents in terms of the way that they thought, right? They were both depression era kids, children. So, but anyway, both my parents were born in the Bronx, and my father was in the Air Force in World War II. He flew bombers in the 88 Squadron, and
Oh,
after the war, he and a number of his friends from the Air Force were very active in supporting the effort in Palestine to support the Israeli effort, and they unofficially supported the war effort, and it's 47, 48, and stayed after the independence date. And my father was on the original flight crews for El Al.
oh,
So my parents actually lived in Israel in a town called Bat Yam, which is right outside of Tel Aviv. And my sister Judy, my middle sister, was born there. I keep, we always kid around where, if she ever goes back, she never has. Like, she has to go into the army, right? So
Mhm.
72 going into the
Yeah.
army.
Hi.
But my dad, by the time I was born, he had already, he had left El Al a number of years. So that's why we settled in Rosedale, because that Rosedale was very close to JFK at the time, Idlewild Airport. So it was convenient for him to go back and forth. But anyway, so they lived in Israel. My father was the flight engineer. He was actually the third man in the cockpit. And he was he was on the first flight, the first El Al flight ever from Tel Aviv to Paris. He was on the first El Al transatlantic flight from Tel Aviv to New York,
Wow.
and he was on the flight that brought Theodore Herzl, back home to Israel from Austria
impressive.
for his
Wow.
final.
And they got there on time.
Wow.
So anyway, so my parents, having had me later on in life, and also their only son, had not figured they had an opportunity to provide me with the Jewish education, that they didn't give to my sisters. And so again, my dad had already retired or left El Al a number of years ago, and now he was working as a buyer in the hardware industry. So I didn't really get to appreciate a lot of what they brought from their backgrounds, and certainly
Sure.
from the effort that my father became a hero to me much later in life, because he didn't really talk about what he did.
Well,
And
it's
it's
generational too, right? Like that generation doesn't really talk much about,
no, they don't talk about anything. It's like you have to like
yeah. It was,
reel
you
it
know
in.
what? It was like, it was, what's the word I'm thinking of? It was taboo to talk about how you felt or things you experienced. It was like just, yeah, it was very different.
To me, I mean,
Feeling.
man, like he has a purple heart, right? And like again, I like never, I saw it. You never really talked about it.
Yeah.
And we would talk sports all day. He
Yeah.
was a Yankees fan, I was a Mets fan, born in Queens. We were both huge Giants fans, and that was the kind of the thing that connected us, right? So my father was very, very much, like I said, later on in life, he became the hero to me that he always was, but more so because now I really understood what it was that he did. We didn't have a very large family, right? So I didn't like, even in talking to like a cousin, they had no idea. Like we didn't really talk about it. So it was only after I had started on my career path that my father and I, had a chance to really reconnect. And then he started to engage and talk me through a lot of what he had done, and certainly his time in Israel with El Al. And I have a number of books where my father was prominently mentioned. And so, in kind of bringing this conversation full circle, I never had a chance to go to Israel. I never had a chance to do a lot of these things. So, first, for my father, right? it was important for me to go to Israel. So after October 7th, and I had planned on going to Israel. I mean, once I retired, it was on the docket like immediately. After the events of October 7th, that really just expedited the whole mission, right? So I got 2 tattoos and went to Israel for the first time to volunteer. So I volunteered 3 times over the last 15 months, which was very important to me. The first time I did it for my dad. For the next 2 times, it was for me, right? So that was the kind of the beginning of bringing myself back into the fold, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And it was, I don't want to make it sound more than it is, but you want to talk about like landing in Ben Gurion for the first time, thinking about my dad, seeing all the LL planes, right?
It's
Yeah.
moving,
It
sure.
Yeah.
was very
That's
cool.
gotta
So
be, I mean, so there's a big gap in between. So like that was, so it was when did your father, is he still around or he passed?
no, my dad passed. This is really incredible. My dad passed in 2012 at 91.
Wow.
He died the night before the Giants Patriots second Super Bowl, and at the funeral the next day, we were here in Florida, and everybody had flown into New York for my dad's funeral on Super Bowl Sunday, and the whole family, again, my extended family, my kids, my ex, my sisters, everybody, my cousins, we were all together at my sister's house in Long Island, and the Giants obviously pulled out that victory, and everybody was like, "That was Herb looking down."
Mm, wow.
Yeah. So
That's
that was
so,
actually pretty cool.
but that's incredible, right? So I mean, like you've had this like life of just, working at a company for 30 years, obviously music was part of it. You've had this history with your dad, and then you had your kids and everything like that. And now you're at the back nine. You're at the back nine, you're volunteering, you're getting back to your roots and volunteering, in all different organizations. What's on that like list for you in that back nine that you're not doing yet? Like thinking about, and like, listen, we never know. Like, no one knows how long we have. And you're a super young guy, so you could have like, who knows? There could be another nine. It could be 36 holes, who knows? Or 20, what is that? No, 24. I don't know. I don't do math in public. Um,
Yeah,
27.
yeah, 27, whatever. But
7,
like, so what, I don't do math in public, clearly.
yeah.
Uh,
I can't do it either.
yeah. So, like, what are some plans? So no more going to get a job. We're going to stay in retirement and just focus on what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, for right now, like I said, um, I'm thinking for right now, I don't want to bite off more than I could chew. I also want to make sure that I'm not like I said, I'm not overloading myself. And the things that I do are important to me. And I think, just quality over quantity, maybe at this point, right? So I'm sure there's more ahead, but I don't know what it is yet. Like I never really traveled a lot, like I shouldn't say I traveled a lot. Obviously, I traveled domestically for
Sure.
work, but I never really traveled internationally until, late into my marriage, where we went to Italy for the first time, and England and Spain. And I am, super excited about travel. I love traveling. So obviously being to Israel a couple of times, have gone on a couple of cruises to the Med. I just got back from Sweden to visit one of the guys that I volunteered with in Israel. And, having the flexibility and the freedom to kind of come and
Great.
go is
Oh,
kind
it's
of cool.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also going, I spend a little time. I have a granddaughter who's going to be 2 years old in October, a couple of weeks, and getting a chance to go up and spend some time with her every couple of months, up in Jersey means a lot to me. So again, there's a lot to sustain for right now, and I don't feel like I don't feel like I don't have anything to do because I've got Enzo,
Yeah.
my now 1 year old retriever,
Yeah.
and he and I we have our thing.
Is that your first dog?
Sorry.
Is Enzo your first dog?
No, well, no, he's my first dog in quite some time. We had a golden retriever, a family golden retriever, when the kids were growing up. But my commitment to myself was, I was with someone very special to me, and she and I had, when we were together, we had agreed on getting dogs. She was very much in going to a rescue and getting a dog from a shelter, which I was all about as well. But I would not commit to getting a dog until I was home or retired, because there was no point of getting a dog or dogs and have them be home by themselves all day. And this woman works, tremendous hours. She works for for Kennedy White, which is a chiropractic firm here in Sarasota, and she works long hours. So it didn't really make sense. But once I retired, again, we went and got Enzo, and we had decided that we were going to get, our first dog would be Enzo, and the next dog would be the rescue would be Ciro, and Enzo and Ciro from the Netflix series Gomorrah, the Italian drug cartel. So the two
Okay.
protagonists. Exactly. But Enzo is anything but a drug runner. Even if
Good
he
thing because
could.
the EA is listening to this call right now.
Right, exactly. So no,
He was a
so yeah, so
mule.
that so again, Enzo and I, we have our routine, and he's spending time with him is very important to me as well.
I love that. What advice would you give to your younger self now, knowing where you are now? What advice would you give to your younger self, or perhaps to somebody who's in your shoes, about to take a job on where they're going to be traveling and, committing their life to an organization that, whatever, what kind of advice would you give to somebody like that or to your younger self, which is could be the same person?
Um, be real. Be confident in yourself and your abilities. Don't question why somebody is providing you with support and has taken you under their wing as a mentor. Again, confidence is critical to success. It's one key component to success, and I think I lacked a little bit of that. And looking back, I always doubted my ability to do the job, and I think that was again a lack of self-confidence. But I would tell my younger self, you'll be fine. Just, don't doubt yourself and don't doubt why you are where you are.
I love that. It's interesting. Confidence, I think, is such an interesting topic because I feel like everybody lacks it in some way, shape, or form, right? But you don't know it. Like I would never, like, I've met you in person once. I'm like thinking about that. I'm like, once. We've had conversations, but I would never have ever thought that that would be something that was even an issue, not in a bad way, in a good way. Like, I feel like you show up and you're there and you're confident in your abilities. So it's interesting. And I don't know if that comes, do you think that comes with age? Do you think that comes with experience? I'll ask both of you.
I think there's just too much anxiety. People, they say fake it till you make it. People, they
Yeah.
often don't have faith in themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, they ask a lot of successful people different questions, and they wish they felt better about themselves. It's a feeling you develop independent of age. You get kids that are very confident, and again, it's a balance. Being overconfident is one thing, but being
Yeah.
confident in yourself, it's a wonderful thing. It just makes life that much easier. It's the balance in your emotional life.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, Stan, because my son who exudes that confidence, and he did from kind of from day
Bro.
one. Yeah, he's a leader, Matt, on the leadership team working for a medical sales organization, and people gravitate to him. He's incredibly confident, and I think he seeing me and how kind of I
Sure.
handled myself, right? He's like, yeah, I'm not going to doubt myself. I know what I'm good at, right? And yeah, he ascended very quickly once he graduated from school and had a number of jobs and again exudes confidence. He's a true leader. People gravitate to him.
But I kind of love that he, you taught him a lesson in a way, where he was like,
Unknowingly, yes, I
yeah,
did.
yeah. It's interesting. I think parenting is its own thing in itself. Like when you realize what you're teaching your kids and what they're learning from you. And well, you might know. My dad recently, so my dad's always been an inventor of some sort. And he
So
had
unexpectedly in life, because I never thought that you just some of these things. You're like right now, you're in the game. So when you're in the game, different things come your way. You got to have to participate.
But like, where did that like grandma, Nana and Papa weren't inventors. So where do you think, and your brother and sister, nothing.
Everyone gets an idea. The first one came because of the thing, the bag. I made the first bag clip
Oh, that's right.
because of you kids. I used to
Well,
make
the first what? The bag clip, like chip
Yeah.
clip?
I
Yeah.
made
Really?
I would make the kids sandwiches in the morning that day with Wonder Bread, which is very nutritious, by the way. It's a fantastic
Well,
stuff.
Yeah.
it was different back in the day than it
We
is
have the
now.
twister ties. You close it back up, and even though
Right.
the twist would prick my hand. I go, what? I'm bleeding all over the sandwich. I said, there's got to be a better way to seal
Oh,
the
that's what
bread.
that flavor was.
So I devised something. Ruth had worked in the operating room, and when a baby is born, they put an umbilical cord clamp on the umbilical cord so the fluids don't go back and forth. But that clip was designed never to open. So I said, you know what? If I had a clip like that, but I could open and close it, I got something. So I designed it. Engineers kind of messed. I told the engineers what to do, and I made certain different products. We did it. We sold it in ShopRite, which is up in New York at the
Yeah.
time. Very, very
Used to be one
well.
of my accounts. Yeah.
Got a great letter of recommendation, and it was picked up. I got a call from Echo Housewares, the biggest houseware company in the universe. So we'd like to try for the test kitchen. I said, hey, send some stuff. Let them. The product performed fantastically. What kind of a royalty do you want? I said, well, listen, whatever your standard package is, I'm fine. I had a career at that time, and I'm waiting for the letter. And a week later, I get a letter saying, I'm sorry, we were purchased by a German conglomerate. All acquisitions put on hold.
Wow.
So, timing is critically important, but the fun of creating something from nothing led to other inventions along the way. And I'm not
So
finished. I'll take
was
some
that
other.
your
I want.
primary?
Say
Was
again?
that your primary? I mean, was that your career? Like work in? Yeah.
No,
What,
no,
so
I
what
had
was your?
we had a couple of careers. I had shoe stores. I was a real estate broker for years. We moved to Florida, and I didn't want to have employees anymore. I said, I just want to
Ah,
work for someone. I worked for about 5 or 6 national builders. I was a sales and marketing consultant, sold the homes, pure commission. So there was no cap on the salary. Pissed off a lot of managers, but that's a story for another publication.
another time. Yeah.
You're on your own, make as much as you want. I traveled. It was just a great career. A lot of downtime in the office sometimes, so it kept me busy.
Sure.
You plan some stuff.
They
That's
recently posted an article.
I'm
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
envious.
What's that?
So I'm envious because I mean, I think everybody's got thoughts. Like I
Absolutely.
think but taking that thought, making it real,
Yeah.
being able to have the cycle and just common sense, right? But mind to make
And
that to make
what's your idea?
what was my idea? Butt wipes.
What kind? But
Go on.
Butt wipes.
they have those
Yeah.
now.
Okay. I don't know if you
Reusable?
want to. Do you really want to do this? Do you really want to?
Why not? Let's be
Okay.
real.
Okay. So again, as a salesman, this is when I was working for the food broker. Okay. You're in your vehicle, you're away from home and you're hitting an X number of stores during the day. But when nature calls, you don't want to have, if you have to go to the bathroom in a specific place that's not your own house, sometimes
Oh, sure.
toilet paper just doesn't cut it. And I was thinking, what would be, as I'm sitting there thinking through my great thoughts, if there was something that would make you feel just as cleaner than toilet paper. No, no.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah, they have
You're
them.
gonna edit this. You're gonna edit this out, right?
No, this is all
Oh,
live. We are unfiltered.
We'll keep pee bottle story out of here.
yeah, everyone's got pee balls. This is something different.
No.
So anyway, so that was my, because being fresh all day.
Oh, absolutely.
Wait, but they have those now. So were you
That
part
was
of that
that's
invention?
This was in like the early 80s, right? So again, I had the
You missed
thought
the boat.
before, right?
People just had butts and toilet paper.
There you go.
That's it.
So what happened? So what happened? It never went further than that?
Out of my brain? No, never did. But now I always say when people have either wipes in their home or I was walking down the supermarket aisle with peers or whoever it may be. I was like, oh, you see those? I didn't do it. That's mine.
That's like Romeo and Michelle and the Post-its. It's and they're actually plumbers hate those. So if you do use those, the plumbers hate them. They will tell you it'll clog everything. I was going to share with you a really funny story about my dad because I think this is just like funny. We have a few minutes left. He worked in medical sales. You were saying that your son works in medical sales. And my dad worked in medical sales and he hated it. This is back in like the 70s and he
Good job,
hated
man.
it.
Good job.
Hated it. So he would just start to train to learn real estate with my grandfather. And so he would pretend that he was doing all these visits with the doctors and he would fill out his call log. I'm telling your story. But he would fill out the call log. And so one day he gets called into his manager's office and they're like, oh, Stan, how was it visiting Doctor, who was it?
Well, names and material.
Dr. So-and-so. My dad's like,
I said, so curious, but he says, it happens to be my wife's gynecologist, and he died 3 weeks ago. I said, maybe that accounts for why he was so quiet during the visit. We'll give you the option: quit and get a severance, or you're fired. I said, I'll take the check. Thank you very much.
Check, please. Yes, sir.
So I tell you this story because our local paper just printed an article about my dad and the new pickleball candle, what he's doing, and I posted it on my social media. And it's just funny to hear, like, people talk about, they know me, they know my dad, and it's just that cool thing. And I'm sure that people know your son and feel like you've had this great influence, right? Like, that. And I just think it's really cool that he's learned from you. You've got your daughter as well, too. And the legacy that you're showing them of just owning life and volunteering and doing you is so cool and authentic. And I'm grateful that you shared your story with us
Well, the
today.
good part about volunteering is, in the past, the old Indian tribes, the older guys were the elders. They had the wisdom. You'd go and ask them for questions. No one gives a crap anymore about us, but
I do.
you're able to take your work of your life's knowledge into organizations, which is richly appreciated.
Yeah.
And when all us guys retired, a brain trust left all the corporations and they filled it up with these young kids. You need like 4 people to replace you, but that's the way it's evolution.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's you're absolutely correct. And I also think that the generation that preceded us would say the same thing about us. Like, oh, these kids think.
Yeah, but they lie. They lie all the time.
They did. They did.
What do they know? What do they know?
It's reminds me of a joke. We won't tell the joke today. So wait a minute. Are you over 7.5 by now? I think so.
I'm close to a 7.7.
Woo, woo. I like it.
The dog's almost back. What's that? The dog.
Yeah, Enzo's almost back from grooming. Thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today. When we started this podcast, we just wanted to connect with people to hear about their stories, who they are, and to show other people that everyone's got a different story. And yours is so incredible. And we're grateful that you took time to talk with us out of your busy failing pickleball career. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate having the opportunity to work with you after this. And Stan, it was great getting to talk to you.
The
as
only
well.
advice I can give you at pickleball is very, very simple. Do not run backwards, please.
I couldn't if I wanted to.
Thank you, Bill. It's so good seeing you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
See you soon.
Thank you, guys. See you.
Bye. Bye. Thanks. Oh my gosh. So cool,
Oh,
right?
ask them about the UFO experience. Can you get him back?
No, I'm not doing that. But I just think it's like, I love that he, just shared with his story about how he worked. And it just like that conversation went in about a
You
thousand
never
directions.
know where the podcast will take you.
Right. You're right.
And I found a little tidbit.
Yeah.
Having just traveled back from overseas in jolly old England, other places, I probably told you,
Yeah.
I finally found out why people there drive on the left side of the road.
Why?
Didn't I tell you?
Mm-mm.
I never told you.
Mm-mm.
Well, do you folks know? No one knows. Because in the old days of jousting,
Yeah.
you want to sit on your horse with the lance on the side closest to your opponent. So when you went by, you could stab him. It had to be the left lane because you use your right hand. He used his right hand. Bada bing, bada boom.
Did they not have lefties back in the day?
Don't bring in liberals right now.
Oh, shut up.
It's not about Democrats.
We do not go there.
So you go down to your right hand, we have the thing,
Yeah.
and you poke the guy, and because no other country did jousting, and that's why they drive on the left side of the road.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate you.
1-800-pickleballcandle.com.
Oh my goodness, that's another phone number. All right, listener, we hope you enjoyed Bill's story. If you've got a story to share, we love to hear it. So reach out to us at connect@jamiemarco.com, JAIMEMARCO.com. Every story matters. Somebody asked me, well, I've got nothing to share. I'm like, really? Because everyone has lived a life and
There's no confidence.
like believe in yourself. And I talked to a girl today who she has a cattle farm and she's also working in a dermatologist office. I'm like, let's talk.
We'll also send you a package of butt wipes from 1960. However, they're now used as sandpaper.
Oh my God. Goodbye, listener. Go and bye.
Hey, thank you for tuning into today's What's Your Story podcast.
To learn more or share your story, go to jamiemarco.com. That's www.jaimemarco.com. And we will see you next time.